Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. On today's episode of Observe Day, we're stepping into a powerful reflection. What if the biggest barrier to progress isn't the problem itself, but how we respond to it? Today, we're we're interviewing the author of Leadership Over Drama, uh, because joining me, I'm so sorry.
Wisdom.
We've had this great
Well,
conversation. No,
you want me to start it? I'll introduce myself. How about that? The author
we
of Save Your Drama
we
for Your Mama
we've
and Leadership is a Choice.
we've had all this great conversation, so casual, and now I'm reading the intro, and it sounds too formal, and I'm like, dude, what is going on here? That's the issue right now. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, okay. Joining me is Charlie Sheppard, a leadership expert, system thinker, and author of Get Off the Fence and Save Your Drama for Your Mama. His work challenges us to rethink leadership not as a title, but as a daily behavioral science. In this conversation, we're unpacking how drama shows up in our lives, how systems shape our decisions, and why choosing leadership, especially in uncertain times, might be the most important decision we make. Welcome to the podcast, Charlie.
Thank you, Wisdom. Sorry to give you what a great way to partner with you on the podcast. I give you a hard time to begin, but anyway,
No, that's it's all about having a conversation.
it's
Not
human, right?
it's a convert. We
It's
have to
not human to
converse.
read something.
Yeah, we have to converse. I was looking at your intro, and I've interviewed a lot of guests, and I feel that I've interviewed you before on a different podcast because I have multiple podcasts, and I feel I've interviewed you before. The reason I say that is that certain words keep popping up. And I'm like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, drama triangle, get over the fence, leadership drama. I'm like, yeah, I have interviewed him, but I'm not so sure. It's been a while. You do this long enough, you're like, oh yeah, you sure? Okay, yeah. Since you don't remember me,
I would remember the name, if nothing else. I would remember your smile. So I think that I would have that. I think that I would have the. I don't know, but let's go ahead. Hey, here's what you can do, Wisdom, is you can ask different questions. Like we can talk about. I have an oncology startup where we're looking to eliminate advanced cancers as a cause of death.
yeah.
We can talk about climate change. We can talk about the Human Presence Institute, which just got created this year. So there's a lot of things that if you want to guide the conversation, we can go wherever you think your listeners would like it the most.
Yeah. I want to start with the drama triangle versus leadership triangle.
So that came out of so I'm a professor of leadership. I was teaching a program 2 weeks long where we surveyed everybody with 360s before going into the training, and then we surveyed them afterwards to see the impact of a 2-week residential program on leadership. And it was pretty cutting edge. The thing that we discovered is the people that needed the leadership development the most embraced it the least, and the people that needed it the least embraced it the most. So we helped a lot of the good leaders get better. We didn't help the poor leaders kind of make some type of a transformation. So for me at the time, all of the leadership theory was both about it was leadership versus management. And what we did is we actually took a different contrast, which is contrast leadership versus drama. So that was the gist of the conversation. Then it became the perfect mirror. One of the easiest ways to teach anything is to teach its opposite.
Yeah.
We teach lease. To understand leasing, we talk about buying. To talk about men, we talk about women. It's how you can go into any culture anywhere in the world and people are talking about the same issues because they're talking about something in its opposite. And so using the drama versus leadership as an opposite made it a powerful contrast.
Yeah. The reason I'm smiling is I just checked my CRM and I realized that I've interviewed you before on my other podcast called Relatable Wisdom. And I remember it's not the face, it's not the name, it's the topics we talked about.
So you've interviewed me before.
They just kept coming up, right? It's on a different podcast. And I was like, why does it sound like I've known you. And then we hit off the
Yeah, well, you
conversation, and
have.
I was
You
like,
do what
what's going
you
on?
gotta look at the CRM. So you're running too many podcasts at the same time.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I meet great people? I want to increase my luck.
Well, there it is.
Yeah,
So,
wow.
hey, listeners, Wisdom has, I don't know how I missed, was your name always Wisdom before,
It
or
has
did you
always been
change that?
wisdom. That's my name. It's always been wisdom.
Okay.
I don't blame you. I don't even remember your name.
Well, well, here's the thing, Wisdom. I'm old enough to have age-related memory loss. You're too young.
So that's how we're doing it now, right? I didn't blame you, but but you point the fingers. Okay, it's all right. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good to have you
So
back.
thank you, Wisdom.
Yeah, it was in
Uh,
August last year, so it's been a while. So
okay. Well,
yeah.
good. It may have been one of my very first podcasts then.
Oh wow, 7th of August, 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
wasn't
it's
that
good to
long
see you.
ago. Anyway, well, thanks for having me back. What do you want to talk
Yeah.
about this time? Wisdom.
Okay. I want us to you know, I want us to connect the dots in the sense that see how earlier on before we started recording, you talked about you helping companies model their high performance, and you also talked
Yep.
about drama triangle and leadership triangle. In the last episode, we talked about on the Relatable Wisdom podcast, talked about the drama triangle, the leadership triangle, and you were exhaustive on it, right? And I can still remember you talking. I can't remember the sound of your voice, but I remember you talking about the drama triangle versus the leadership triangle. And then I was like, okay, why is it that people talk about drama? What I want us to talk about is um what does it mean to move from reactive drama to intentional leadership in real time?
That's a good question. So it's a state difference. Um, but we only have about 3 milliseconds before we're into an automatic pattern. And drama is automatic with every individual that I've encountered. I've got students from 99 different countries. Whenever I teach the drama triangle, it's pretty much relevant in any country from any continent in the world, right? So it seems to be a pattern that's recognizable by all humans.
Yeah.
So drama is standard equipment, leadership is optional. What do I mean by that? Is a lot of times we get into these reactionary modes and it wasn't a conscious choice, it was an unconscious pattern. Something fired, we go into an automatic pattern. So I think the thing to notice is the main difference in this reactionary is, and I always talk about this, are you putting energy in the environment or are you taking energy out of it? Right. So if you're taking energy out of the environment, you're usually in some form of the roles of the drama triangle. If you're putting energy into the environment, you're usually in some form of the leadership triangle. And there's a choice there at any moment in time.
What does it look like to put energy and take energy? Because now I'm like, okay, I get it, I understand taking out, but what does it actually look like in practice? Could you give me an example?
Don't you understand this wisdom? No. Anyway, I just did I did a sound
Yeah.
energy that was attacking you, and you were kind of like, "Well, where did Charlie go? I'm not liking that guy." So a lot of times the sound is the energy, putting other people down, mocking them, not in a there's a way of good-natured humor, which is building bonds, right?
Yeah.
Creating relationship. But the people in the drama triangle are putting others down all the time. They're creating the mischief.
Yeah.
So
You said taking
and
in and putting in energy. But for me, it sounds like we're just adding bad energy.
Yeah, it's adding bad energy into the environment. The thinking, though, creates the behavior. The behavior shifts your sound. These are energy receptor devices,
Yeah.
right? And so you can hear something from we can hear from each other what the energy that's being conveyed. And so what people don't realize, and this kind of gets to the unconscious, what's your sound energy that you're generating in any kind of environment. That's why there are some people that can walk in a room and you just feel the energy being drained out of the room. And there's other people that walk into the room and they put a lot of energy in. So the structure of how you go about being intentional is one, you just have to know the patterns of drama and leadership. And then I always use it as a reference point. Where am I? And by the way, there are times when I'm in the drama triangle. I think back to the time my mother got multiple myeloma, and it felt like there was nothing I could do because there was nothing I could do. And so
Yeah.
there was a I could feel the powerlessness of that, and that put me into, in many ways, in the relationship to the disease, into the victim role. We ended up engineering. She didn't live very long. We ended up trying to engineer as good a death as we possibly could, but then it also created a vision for me, which is that was kind of the impetus of my oncology startup. Is I find that when there's things that take my energy away, it's a good indication that, oh, okay, I need a compelling vision for where I want to go and what I want to accomplish in this lifetime. So I went about thinking and crafting and creating a biotech company that has a shot at, in many ways, freezing cancer in place. So
Yeah.
that's part of it is it's not that you're never down in the drama triangle, but if you feel like you're a victim to something, create a vision for it. It was the same thing about having a conversation around climate change. It felt like it was too big, too large. I couldn't, I wanted to have 8 billion people care about climate. And so I went, okay, what are my superpowers? Well, I know how to write, I know systems thinking. I'll put together a book on systems thinking and climate change. And at least then I have a compelling vision and I have a voice inside of a movement for how do you actually shift people's thinking around how they approach climate. So I think anything that you feel like you're being drained, you got to sit there and go, okay, how come? Do I want this? And if I don't want it, how do I make a shift inside of my life?
And then, when you went on to explain and give that and share the story, it just occurred to me that you were right all along. Taking in and taking out energy. Because when you look at the ultimate results, when you scream, what happens eventually is that I lose interest. And I'm like, I don't like the way he's talking to me. Let's just do this podcast and I go do the other thing. I'm not interested. And I'm like, right. So the whole energy of the conversation at the end of the day, even though you might be shouting and screaming, it's just down, right? I'm probably just saying, okay, we're already here. Let's just do the interview. Right. But when you're like, excited, I'm like, oh wow, I love this guy. I'm glad we're doing this podcast. So at the end of the day, the whole interview now, it's the energy is just there ultimately. So yeah, that does make sense. Because most people feel like the more they shout, they bring more energy. It's gonna make people listen to them. And I'm like,
Well, and
yeah.
here's the thing, though. It's interesting now that you mentioned that I've been on one of your podcasts before. We actually had a really good conversation because now I'm
Do you
hearing.
remember the conversation?
Yeah, well, no, but I remember you now, and it's coming back to me from a standpoint of, I think, what I remember talking to you about is the fact that, I'm somebody who's in California talking to somebody who's in Nigeria, and
Yeah,
it's that human connection, right? So
yeah,
what's coming back to me is we had that conversation, and this is what I'm remembering is like how cool is this medium where somebody it, who right, if I was in Nigeria, I'd wanna meet you, right?
yeah,
There's a connection that occurs, and it makes the world just a little bit smaller, and so by
yeah. You do
doing these
remember.
types of conversation. Yeah.
That's what we talked about. We talked about your friends will know you better in the first few seconds, and an acquaintance will know you in a lifetime. And we talked about the human connection. So
Yeah,
you
and what
remember.
was interesting about that wisdom is what didn't exist then, and this is kind of the backstory about how things happen inside of my life. It was the beginning of the year. By the way, listeners, you can go to humanpresence.org,
Yeah.
presence.org.
Wait, okay,
Oh,
you switched the screen. Okay, yeah, I still see you, but
how
you
did that
switched
happen?
your screen.
Over there, that's on my laptop. But new recording track. I have no clue how that happened.
Ooh. That
My
wasn't
hand,
intentional.
hold on.
Okay. If you can't change it, you might have to look at this other camera here and just make sure we continue the conversation.
Yeah, no, I know. That's it says learn more. Hey, new recording track started due to changes in your devices. Learn
Yeah.
more. I don't know
So,
why my
so
device. Here, let me
I,
let me get the camera back. Let's see if it's that share cam. Uh, you can turn off the camera by recording, but you can't switch cameras, even though it switched it on me.
oh, so
That is weird.
that's what called gaslighting. So they can do it, but you can't do it.
Okay, well, let's see. Okay,
Just
so now,
I can't see you on. Just so you know, I
yeah, I
can't see
know.
you.
What an interesting.
That just
Okay,
happened.
well, there I am.
Okay,
So,
okay.
but
Yeah, we're back.
now the microphone is behind me.
Oh, yeah, but I can still hear
Oh,
you fine. Yeah.
how's how's the sound? Because the microphone's over there and I can't quite pull it over. Oh, I could.
It's a great mic. It can still pick up your voice.
You know what I'm gonna do is
Yeah.
I have a hack here where I'm gonna just move the
Okay.
there.
Oh yeah. That works. That works. Now you don't have to force yourself to look at me. Or you just switched up to careful so the devices don't fall on the
I
floor.
put my computer on something that's now making a sound.
Yeah.
Holy! I have 3 cell phones here, so that's
Okay.
not playing. You can hear that,
Yeah,
correct?
I can hear it, yeah.
What?
I
People are
think
gonna
it's
be
the
laughing.
laptop because I don't know the device you took when you switched and moved. I think that's the thing because everything was okay until you touched it and then the sound just came in.
It's a nice sound. I
It's
have
the
no
copyright I'm worried
idea.
about. The copyright of the music. That's why I would have to, if not, I could listen to it and we could just talk about it. But the copyright of the music, I don't want to have to deal with copyright of whoever has the music. That's why I just,
It's my music. Don't worry
it's
about
your
it.
music.
I know the track, but I can't find it anywhere.
It's your music. You sure
Okay,
about that? Because that's the thing. I don't want YouTube. It would just and then they're like, oh wow, copyright. I'm like,
there we go.
okay.
Somehow I hit the keyboard.
You make
I've
music
been
too.
playing. So now we've got that. Now I'm
Okay,
back. Holy
this is
moly!
lovely.
So
Yeah, yeah. You were
here's the,
saying,
uh, so what a funny. I've never had this happen before. So uh,
yeah, before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
So the story was, and this kind of gets to the whole idea we were talking about this before.
Yeah,
Since
the
I
human presence.
so it was at the beginning of the year, and if you've ever had this as an experience where life comes along and kind of taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, you need to go do something." I used to do personal growth seminars a long time ago. I was told to go. I don't know how else to say it other than, listening to my intuition and having that intuition inform me that I need to go do public seminars. And I'd given them up 25 years ago. And part of it, the background of that, my partner passed away. We were doing
Oh, so
something called
sorry to hear that.
performance-based training. And we actually did another session where we actually took people bungee jumping. So it was called God Talks to Bungee Jumpers. And it was the whole idea of using the bungee jump as a way of reorganizing your life. Like a lot of people have near death experiences and everything changes.
Yeah,
And this is a more safe, secure environment because we're hooked up to multiple security systems, but there's still the intensity of jumping off and as a way
yeah,
of reorganizing. And we were able to create this incredible outcome over and over again. But when he passed away, I just kind of put that aside. It was based upon, in some ways, Judith Delosier and John Grinder's work of neurolinguistic programming, prerequisites to personal genius, where we went on in and crafted a seminar to make that accessible for people. But I was told to go teach it again. So I really thought philosophically about, oh, I want to be able to teach something that's would be where a Muslim or a Christian could come to it, where somebody could be an atheist or
yeah,
agnostic, a Shiite, a Sunni, a Buddhist. It didn't matter what tradition you came from, but you could get more access to your own human and make it and presence it. And then presence what you want in your life. And so the whole idea about human presence is it's a workshop. The other principle was I saw a lot of people that have gone down the path of personal growth workshops where they become successful, but it becomes a cash grab.
oh,
And and so what I wanted to do is to make it for free. And then I wanted to scale it. So to scale it, I needed to not only design a course that works, but design a course that anybody could teach to anybody else.
yeah,
And so that was the principle behind the Human Presence Institute. So since I've seen you, when you think about the idea of what allows something to happen, sometimes you get an intuitive message that tells you to go do something, and
Yeah,
so that's gonna be, uh you know, we're gonna hope to build that curriculum and then have that curriculum expand out into the world. You may see the Human Presence Workshop someday in Nigeria. Who knows?
that
Maybe
would be
you'll be the
lovely.
person to get certified.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an amazing 2-day experience. It's I know the agenda. It's 2 days of pure transformation.
Okay, you're doing the test run over there in where you calling from?
California.
Over there in California. Once, because once you've done it, I would really, that's a fantastic idea. I would really love to do something like that. Here in Nigeria. Fortunately, I run a local media outlet, so I have a place where I can say hi if you want to do stuff and and get people to actually come participate in it. So I'm telling you now, and I will also add it to my to-do list. I need a better system because I have great conversations with guests, but these things just happen and it slips through the crack. You're like, don't let go. And I know we talk about great things, and I'm glad we got to meet again.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just that, stuff happens. I
Yeah.
guess the other thing that's new for me is I'm gonna have my first children's book come out.
Wow. Wow.
So,
That's
it's called
lovely.
it's The Path of Light. Uh, I created a book, I remember with my kids, I would tell them stories, and sometimes I would travel, and so I would record the stories. And so I've taken the gist of those stories, but part of my training is in hypnosis, and I was actually, reflecting back. I don't know if I have the book here, but my, great uncle worked for Walt Disney and wrote the Sunday comics for Walt Disney for like 20 years, and wrote all the when Mickey Mouse was truly a kind of an adventurer like Indiana Jones. He
Yeah.
was writing those stories. So I grew up with those stories. And I went, "Oh, this ability to create stories is in my DNA." And I you know, told them to my children. So I added a component where there's hypnotic um patterns, and then I created a blessing, and it's called The Path of Light, and it's all about finding your own inner light. And again, same principle. Doesn't matter what your religious background or training is, agnostic to born again, whatever. It's a book that people can read to their children. I remember having fears of going to sleep, and I remember my children having fears of going to sleep, and so this makes
Yeah.
the dream state accessible, and it makes it friendly, and so the kids go in and have adventures in their dream states, and I think it's a very sweet novel and concept and idea, that'll be, universal.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. It's amazing how, most of the authors I know, right, they don't start out writing children books. Instead, it's a question of, oh, yeah, that's true. Your dad, you're a storyteller. Grandpa, you're writing all these books. Can you tell me a story? And then they're like, okay, yeah, that's true. I tell my kids, my grandkids these stories. I might as well just write the book for others to read, and eventually the children books comes out. And I think that's great because now the kids they love kids can't kids are not so good at lying in terms of expression at a very young age, right? Compared to adults. If a kid likes something, you can say it. They're so happy and delighted about it. And if they hate it, you can tell like, oh, I don't really like that story.
Well, and that's why the music was close by. I was writing a song. There's a blessing that's in it called the Path of Light blessing that children can say. I remember there was a one that was from the Christian tradition of now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep.
Yeah.
Listen to the next line. If I die before I wake.
Ooh.
Who does that to a kid? And yet, that was part of the impetus that I went, oh, I could actually create something that's a little bit more um, positive for going into the dream state. I also had dreams as a kid where I would leave my body, couldn't get back into my body. I had lucid dreaming, active dreaming. And so, I would go to my parents and talk about those things, and they didn't have a reference point. So I wanted to write a book that made all of those things seem normal.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. Is the book out?
It's gonna get published pretty soon. I have a copy of the proof book, but there were a couple errors in it, and we're gonna do a Kickstarter with it, so people can become a part of the Kickstarter. Anybody that becomes a part of the Kickstarter or signs up on the in Shepherd Partners, my website, there'll be a funnel for the Path of Light series. You also get the audio, and
Oh
so
wow,
there's a
that's
musical
lovely.
song. So there's a musical song. I've been testing it. Even the song, it's more like a pop song, but the popular song it also works at putting people to sleep. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. And when the book comes out, I'd love to know. And I probably we could
Yeah.
have a conversation completely on the book then, and that would be lovely.
Wisdom, do you have a book publishing podcast? How many podcasts do you have?
I don't have a book publishing podcast yet. I don't know. Who knows the
Yeah,
future?
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, that's really really lovely. It's good to have these conversations over and over again, and just it feels surreal when I know maybe the word surreal is not the word I'm looking for, but it's great when I get to interview guests that I've interviewed before because now it's no longer, oh, who are you? And I'm like, yeah,
No, I know. I feel the same way. It took a while though. I
yeah,
I didn't have the memory right at the beginning, and now I do. I get your
yeah.
cadence,
I
I get
think
your
I
style,
think
I
we
understand
we
your
kind of
questions.
knew our body kind of knew
No,
even
I
before
know. We
our
did.
our
You s
mind.
Yeah, no, consciously, I didn't have the access to it,
Yeah,
but
but the
all
subconscious
of a sudden,
knew.
"Oh, yeah, this is familiar."
Yeah, I was like, I know this guy. I feel like I know this guy. And then I was like, oh yeah, why do we just talk straight? And he was like, oh yeah, now I know. I've spoken to him before. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you so much for sharing and for chatting with me. It's been a lovely conversation, and it's a great reminder of the things that are important. The whole idea of leadership over drama, the energy, and because sometimes we might do something at the end of the day, it leads to taking out energy, even though we feel like we're trying to add energy and make the place better. But we realize that okay, we do this thing, and then everybody is like, "Oh, what's happening?" Like, "Ah, I feel like in a cage in the drama place, in in the workplace, and yeah, I love the statement and the frame of reference.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, uh, let me ask you a question.
Okay. I'm on the hot seat now.
Yeah, what got you into podcasting?
What got me into podcasting? The exact thing I'm doing right now. It's selfish in a way, and it's that I was like, wouldn't it be nice if I could talk to the people that are doing like the rough idea was it would be nice if I could talk to the people that I read their books and I loved and they inspired me and
Yeah.
all that. That was the rough idea. And then eventually expanded to it would be nice if I could talk to people who are crushing it and doing things one way or the other all over the world. And then I realized that wow, with the internet and everything, I'm in Nigeria, yeah. I've never left the country in my life. And I am here talking with Charlie from the US. I'm like, I'm so broke right now that it can't even enter. My budget would explode if I try to say, okay, let's go from Nigeria to US and then get a place and then talk to Charlie. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
But I'm doing that. So it's crazy for me. And that's why I do it personally. And then there's also the part imparts the world and touch people's life, which yeah. I also want to do that. If not, I would have been doing something else. I probably wouldn't be releasing the episodes.
And how long have you been doing it for?
Okay. Are we counting full time, serious mode, or are we counting the on and off beginning time?
Even the beginning, how long have you been involved with the
Five,
podcasting?
6 years ish.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And and if you think of the one characteristic that makes you a good interviewer, what would it be?
The one characteristics that makes me a good interviewer, realizing that I am the spotlight and the guest is the
S
star. Realizing
Ah,
that I am
got
the
it. Got it,
spotlight
got it,
and the
got it.
guest is the
I
star.
hear you. Oh, that's very
Yeah,
cool.
right.
That's
Nobody
useful.
nobody likes to look at the spotlight, but we like to look
Yeah,
at
yeah,
what the
yeah.
spotlight is spotlighting. If you've been to a stage and the spotlight just falls on your
Yeah,
eyes,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy. You don't want to see that, right? And yeah, so that changes a lot of things.
By the way, listeners, wisdom just gave you a way of going through life that is a characteristic of people that have the magnetic personality, is
Wow.
that they actually will shine a spotlight on others.
Wow.
It's actually an art form. Very few people know how to do that. So I hear that you have the philosophy, and it's a way of approaching other individuals so that you can, okay, how do I make sure that I'm setting other people up for success?
Yeah.
And in doing so, there's a deeper connection that you get. It doesn't mean that you always have to be there, right? learning how to do that well is definitely a skill set, and part of it is asking great questions and researching and wanting to do it and wanting, like, and you're sitting there going, oh, I want to meet with these individuals. So it's again, just so that this
Yeah.
is the piece around the we you talked about it before, the podcast I'm starting, which is the architect of
Of high
high
performance.
performance, is that so that's a belief system, and it's probably got a value, and there's a thinking that goes into it and a series of behaviors. So the idea is to unpack that into something that allows the listeners to kind of go, oh, that's actually a genius move, right? And
Yeah.
so having that, it's a capability of putting the spotlight on others. One, you ask questions to get them talking, right? So that's the one thing. You're actually hearing what they've said.
Yeah.
And then all of that goes on into being a spotlight for other individuals. And then you're going to have success and people are going to want to talk to you. I think a part of it on the podcast I'm going to be doing in the future,
Yeah.
I'm going to be figuring out what the person's genius is, because a lot of times people will say things and they don't realize that that is actually a genius mechanism.
Wow.
So then, okay, what do I do to spotlight? Listen, ask great questions, have a through thread of what they're actually saying, giving them time to speak, do
Yeah.
nonverbal encouragers. That's so those are all the behaviors of truly being a spotlight. Anyway, I'm practicing. There you go.
Yeah.
I was just practicing what I'm going to be doing in the future.
Yeah. That's wow, that's what you'll be doing. Wow. I think one of the things that it was, how you're listening to things, you've been doing a lot of things, and you're experts, and you have mastery in a couple of things, so you understand this. You start in an industry, you're doing something over and over and over again. You get certain rules. Okay, if you do this to be a good leader, you do this, and then you do this, and then out of nowhere, there's this particular rule that is counterintuitive to all the other rules you've learned, and you're like, wait, how do I put this? Do I have to like let go of the former one? How can they coexist? And you're like, no, they have to be together. And one of them is there's the part where we said ask great questions, which is a fantastic advice. You have to ask great questions. And then there's also the part where you have to like not necessarily shut up, but silence could also be a question, right? Where someone talks and then you quiet and then they talk. Because sometimes we just rush in and like, oh, how do I move on to the next thing? Like, oh, and it's a series of questions.
Do you want to know the worst listener in the world? Absolute worst?
Who's that?
ChatGPT. It's funny because
Ah,
I kind of want to use it as a thought partner every once in a while, and I might be driving in my car and want to have a conversation.
yeah,
It won't shut up. I'll sit there
yeah,
and I'll go, like, one of the things this kind of gets to the piece around silence. A lot of times I need the silence because I'm putting together ideas inside of my head that I
yeah,
can't get to any other way. So you're actually being present with the silence. That's different than silence. I
yeah,
just want to mark out that what you're
yeah.
talking
That's
about,
the word. That's the word.
it's presence. It's not silence.
Not awkward
And
silence.
and if you're being present, you can actually watch the other person formulating things. And yeah, the worst listener in the world is ChatGPT. Can't even do it.
Yeah.
It's like it just has to fill the space. It has such a yep. And even when it's trying to do the rapport building, and it just can't shut
Like,
up.
dude, stop that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's nice that there's still some things that humans do well,
Yeah.
and it goes. I really want for you to hear this wisdom. It goes beyond though the hearing and the listening. It's staying present with another human being is a gift and an art form, and it's again a part of what makes you a good podcaster and is part of your genius.
Wow. Thank you so much. No one has ever told me that I'm a good podcaster. I just think I'm a podcaster. I think that was my aspiration. I was like, be a podcaster. We can always add the adjectives later on. Well, let's stick with the noun for now. Be a podcaster. And yeah. Wow. Sit with them. I love what you're doing with the podcast. I really, really love it. It's not just a high performance podcast. It's different. It's a specific format people can look. It's a show, right? It's no longer a podcast. It's a show. Listeners can see themselves in the respective people you're interviewing. Not necessarily interview, but doing modeling their model of genius. Say, for example, what you just did with me right now. If I was listening to a random guy who has a podcast about chickens or something like that, a random guy, and I'm listening, I'm like, oh wow, Yeah, yeah, I
Be
do
the
that when I
spotlight,
do
not the
interviews.
star.
Yeah,
How do I do it? Presence,
yeah,
listen, blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
It'll be
that's
fun.
me.
I'm looking forward to doing the podcast. You know, it doesn't even exist yet. I'm about ready to put it up on
Yeah,
about ready to put it up on the old Spotify and Apple and do all those things and name it and build the funnel and blah blah blah. But it'll be fun.
it's a lovely show concept. You know,
Yeah,
it's the kind of podcast that
from the guy who actually teaches people to do, like, you're actually teaching others how to do podcasts, or you're doing
yeah,
technical support.
it's I was surprised you just like when I saw the idea, I was like, are you sure you didn't get it outside? It's a it's the kind of idea that when people hear about it, they're like, oh wow, I love that idea. That's such a fantastic idea. Wow, they're excited about the idea, not even listening to the episode, or even you don't even have to talk. They're like, oh wow, where can I subscribe?
So here's the thing: is like in my career,
Yeah.
these I've codified for businesses over 2,000 behaviors.
Wow.
So it's a I get that people might like to do the idea. There is a skill set to doing it. It's not as easy as it sounds, right? The modeling piece brings with it a particular right. But the first aspect, what a lot of people think of when they hear neurolinguistic programming is all the tools and techniques of rapport building and everything
Yeah,
else.
that's yeah, yeah.
Those were the outputs of the first models that they created. It wasn't NLP is the modeling tool,
Yeah.
right? So what people don't realize, and that's what I built my career on, is I modeled leadership and negotiations and presentation skills and how do you do different things. And then I started to do those things. So what I'm actually building now in doing that is, look, it's my day job. So it's not like I get hired by companies to go on in and do job analysis and to figure out what the top performing people are doing,
Yeah.
codify that and giving it back to individuals. I'm,
It's
so it
it's the
sounds simple. It's just, I know that I've got 4 decades of doing it. So that's
wow.
going to give me a
Yeah.
capacity to elicit. It's harder than it looks to kind of unpack somebody's genius.
Of
That's all
course,
I'm
of
going to say.
course, of course, of course, of course. When the genius is doing it, it looks easy.
Yeah.
It's like when someone is drawing your face, you're like, oh wow, that's me. It looks like me. How did you do that? And like to draw is easy. Try drawing, and then you realize you start drawing cartoon characters. What's going on? That doesn't look like my dad. It's fantastic. The reason I say that is that the prospective guests, they're excited to be on the show. If you pitch to me the idea that, oh, if you come on my podcast, I'm going to model your zone of genius for you. I'm like, wow, when can we do the interview? Sign me up, right? And then same thing with the guest. I'm excited about it, and it's just a question of doing the episodes and then putting them out there in the world. Yeah, it's a lovely idea. You're off on a great start. And let me know
Thank you.
when the podcast eventually
I
becomes
will.
official, so I can subscribe and take a listen to it.
You got it. It'll be out there. It'll be in the world. We're getting all the stuff settled up. Of course, I'll have to figure out. Like, I still want to look up here to my camera, even though it's down here.
Oh,
I
oh,
got to get
oh,
the
look,
technology
wait,
in place.
okay, yeah, that would be to adjust certain things, and that should be good.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
wisdom. What a pleasure! It's
yeah,
always a
thank you so
joy
much.
to. Now I can sit there and go, oh man, it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what
I
a
will
fun
do
conversation.
the episodes and then send them to you. It's been a lovely conversation. Thank you so much. And if there's any way I can help, now till the podcast is launched, let me know, and I'll be happy to help.
Yeah. Well, I'll take you up on that wisdom.
Hopefully you do. Where can listeners learn more about you and what you do, and when the podcast eventually comes out? Because I know that when this episode comes out, you would have the podcast out there in the world. Where can they go to see the podcast? Hopefully your website.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that everything will be underneath the Shepherd Partners logo.
Okay.
So SHEPPARD Partners, PARTNERS.com. So Path of Light will be there. The children's book series, Human Presence Institute will be there. I'm running out my first course this year. I've always done B2B, business to business. I'm going to be doing my first B2C course, which is called
Oh
The
wow.
Energy Advantage, which is all about influencing skills and using energy to actually influence. And so it's it's going to be a pretty powerful set of programs. But all of that can be found underneath. I'm just building out the funnels now at Sheppard Partners. So it doesn't exist yet, but maybe hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, everything will be there. But if you go to humanpresence.org, that exists. And all of my books are on Amazon. Save Your Drama for Your Mama, Get Off the Fence. Path of Light will be there also. But the best way
Yeah.
to buy it is buy it. If you buy it through the funnel, you'll get this. You'll get the Path of Light Blessings song that we've just been, recording
Yeah.
and getting that all into place. So
And because of the conversation, when the podcast eventually comes out, let me know, and I will go find the
yeah,
link and just
yeah.
add it in the description.
The Architect of High Performance will look. Probably what I'm going to do next is record the trailer and
Oh
get
yeah.
that posted.
That'll be lovely. Thank you so much. It's been a lovely conversation. Days like this that I'm like, this is why I do what I do. That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.